This is Triggered.
And you will be.
Well, good day.
Welcome to another episode of Who the Fuck Are We to be sitting here?
You know what? It's so funny because I was just thinking, we just got into some, and I call it summer break because summer starts when the kids are off.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. If you have kids, you understand. And we just did grade 8 grad for the youngest, which now I'm sitting here going, okay, so we have 3 kids in high school and 1 in university. I'm like, we're old.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, no more elementary school. I'm old now.
Listen, so my dog groomer is incredible. If anyone's in the Ottawa area, I highly recommend Gentle Paws in home grooming. She's so amazing. But she comes to the house, does my big dog, and he is an anxious guy. Like
Big time.
he can't handle anything. So today, my little dog, my senior citizen, was getting her nails trimmed. And
So cute.
Bear was crying, screaming, and licking her face she's on the bed. Like, she brings her own, grooming bed. Bear is up there trying to be moral support, but every time she would clip, he'd go, oh! I'm like,
You're
sir.
like, I don't even, it's hair, my friend.
It
has no feeling.
This guy.
I'm sure you've seen the TikToks of the kids getting their hair cut where they're
my God.
screaming.
That's
and
my
I'm just
dog.
like, guys, it's not, it has no feeling. It's not hurting you.
We're having a great time in Discord. I highly recommend if you guys want to come and join in on all the fucking fun. We are all becoming the best of friends. It's a great time.
Honestly.
Just come on down, subscribe,
I
get
wake
in
up
there.
in the morning. And I'm like, I wonder how my friends are.
It's our friend group now.
I know.
Fucking
it's the group
incredible.
chat.
It's the group chat.
Yeah, so please come join us. We would love to have you. We're having a ball.
We all know if you've been around for a hot minute, human trafficking is something that I am very, very passionate about. It is now a bigger industry than drugs. So modern day slavery is something that is real. It is happening. And for me, I found this story and I really wanted to talk about it with everyone. It is dark. It is gross. It is going to turn your stomach. But
Great.
Again, if we don't keep talking about it,
Yes.
nothing will get done. And
It's true.
this story has been out forever. But I'm going to go into some detail about the dark web. For those
Okay.
of you who don't know about the dark web, I know our girl Mandy knows about it because we just had this conversation. But it's a scary fucking place.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can get anything on the dark web.
I was just going to say what people don't understand. And listen, I am a huge advocate for the internet and even for AI. And some people might come for me for that. But I do think that it has its place. I do think that it has its benefits. But what we need to understand, and I'm so excited to see what you're going to get into today, is think of the World Wide Web as a house. Okay. And you walk in the front door and you've got Google and you've got,
Facebook
news and you've got celebrities and you've got all these lovely things that we use the internet for every single day. And in this house, there is the darkest, dankiest, stinkiest dirt floor basement. And it's one of those houses where you're not even sure which door it is that leads to the basement. But once you're down there, you'll never forget it.
100%. And one of the big things I want to put a disclaimer out is we know it's there. we
Mhm.
could access it. Like, it's
Mhm.
not hard to find if you really want to put your mind to it. But remember, once you're there, you can't unsee things. Your information is being downloaded. So this is a place you don't go. This is the no-go
Yeah.
zone.
I've never been. I've never been, and I
I
can
never will
honestly
go.
say I never will. I
No.
just there and don't get me wrong, I'm curious AF, and I
Yeah.
do follow pages on social media that release, unredacted horrific videos of crimes, of
Yeah.
accidents, of all these things because I am morbidly curious.
Of course.
However, this isn't that. This
This
isn't
is not
like
that.
I know people personally who have decided that they're going to try it out and go in thinking it's just like a more, I don't know, m- like out in the open version of what I just described. And it's
No.
not.
No,
It's
no.
not at all.
Well, I'm going to talk about the dark web today.
Mhm.
And I'm going to start our story with something that happened in 2014. So, in the Philippines, there is a massive courthouse. There are computers, memory cards, and hard drives inside this courthouse containing some of the most explicit, horrifying images you can even imagine.
Ew.
And a massive fire breaks out. Everything is gone.
Okay.
Okay. And to this day, a lot of investigators believe it wasn't an accident. They believe someone paid to make this case disappear.
Which makes sense.
Right. So the case
Mhm.
I'm talking about involves a man named Peter Gerard Scully. And what this fucking monster built, like before the law caught up with him, was literally one of the most disturbing trafficking and exploitation operations ever uncovered on the dark web.
Already uncomfortable.
Yeah. So this is going to be the story of how he was caught, the people, the technology, and the persistence that made sure this fire did not take this case away because essentially all the evidence burned in the Philippines.
Okay. All right. All right.
So Scully wasn't always a name associated with monstrous crimes. Before any of that happened, he was a real estate developer in Australia. Just
Okay.
just a regular, unremarkable, comfortable kind of man that neighbors wouldn't really look twice at. They were just like,
Mhm.
"Hey man, like he's a real estate guy."
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy was the most unremarkable looking, like you wouldn't even notice him if you were walking to the grocery store kind of person.
Yeah.
Now, all that did change in 2011 when Australian authorities opened a fraud investigation into his business dealings. Rather than face all the bullshit he fucking committed, he literally fled the country because he's a coward. And they usually are.
You know, I was gonna say, this is not out of the ordinary. This sounds about right.
Right. So he flees the country. He lands in the Philippines. Now, first he settled in Now it's the Philippines, guys, and like fucking remember. This is Ashley talking. Mindanao.
You know what? I think it sounded great.
That's where
Good
he
job.
was.
Mhm.
This is like a region where extreme poverty made desperate families easier to deceive. So he didn't just show up there. He knew where he was going. He was like, oh, this place is literally crawling with poverty and desperation. I want to go there. And of
Mhm.
course, this wealthy foreigner shows up and like he literally looks like fucking God to these people because they're going to be saved, essentially, right?
Right, right.
This pattern obviously isn't just unique to Scully. You know, we have talked about the fucking Jared Fogle case. We've talked about lots of fucking monsters that
Mhm.
show up in the worst of the worst situations. And it's so easy to find victims because everyone is desperate for savior,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, organizations that work these cases, groups like the International Justice Mission, which has spent 2 decades partnering with Philippine law enforcement on trafficking because it's a serious situation there. They describe it as one of the most consistent features of cybersex trafficking. Predators target regions with weak institutional oversight, high poverty, and limited digital literacy amongst local police. It's like some of these areas are still writing down,
Right.
cases on paper. So
On paper.
areas aren't working together, is basically what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say. Predators target these areas knowing that the local police aren't going to put two and two together if there are crimes in this region, and there's no way to track foreigners. So
Well,
he
and we
might be
see that.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. And we see this in cases before there was technology, right? Like, if
Yes.
you look back to some of the, like, famous serial killers, the police units from town to town, city to city, county to county, they weren't communicating because
No.
why would they, you know?
And here's the thing, the Philippines, like Thailand, which we've talked
Mhm.
a lot about Thailand, did become one of the world's most documented hotspots for this specific crime we're going to talk about.
Wow, okay.
We're going to talk about live streamed exploitation of children paid for by customers thousands of miles away who would never set foot in this country.
Wow, you really just go for it, eh?
Putting it
I'm
out
just trying
there.
to have a nice afternoon. No,
Chantel has a family dinner after this. I'm like, So I'm about to ruin your entire day."
let's talk about some child exploitation. Oh god,
Fuck.
okay.
Now, to understand how Scully operated, it helps to understand what cyber sex trafficking actually looks like from the outside, because it doesn't always look like what people imagine. And I want to make sure that we are all in the same kind of mindset as we talk about what happened here.
Mhm.
So, when you think of child trafficking, you probably think this big dramatic thing, missing children alerts. All of these things are on missing child, this person's missing, and then it's a whole thing. No. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it is rarely a single dramatic kidnapping. More often, and this is the saddest thing, it starts with a relationship. A recruiter who is local, trusted, sometimes even a family member. Unfortunately, this is just, guys, please don't come for me. Please. I am just citing facts. And I'm not saying that every fucking weird uncle in the family is recruiting your child to be
No, no.
exploited, but these are facts.
Yeah, this is just it, like, be mad about it, be mad not at us.
Yes. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and IGM have documented cases where mothers, aunts, and family friends served as the entry point, offering a child to overseas customers for a fee.
Awesome.
Now, in some of these cases, they believed or they were telling themselves that it was just a video. No one's being touched.
Mm.
Other cases involve a stranger who spends months building trust with a family before asking for anything at all.
I don't care if a child isn't being touched. I don't care if it's a family video of them playing in the yard.
Nope.
If you are some creepy adult paying to view that, go literally go die.
And I do honestly think the laws have to change, because if there was any monetary exchange to a parent,
Yeah,
an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent for videos of a child, get the fuck out of
like
here.
that immediate this has always bothered me, Ash. Like, anytime I've looked into this, anytime that I've talked to you about this even, it's like when they're like, "Well, the child was fully dressed." No, if you're paying money because 'cause you're some kinda creepo
Yep.
to see a child, I don't care if they're I don't care if they're in a fucking snowsuit.
Nope.
That's not the point. You're gross.
It's fucking,
Oh,
and I'm about to trigger the fuck out of everyone. So just know,
I'm already upset, so
yeah,
let's
you're
go.
about to get real upset. So Scully's method was the recruitment version. So he would present himself through other people. So kind of an opportunistic way.
Okay.
Um, he would use other women, people that looked more trusting, and then he would kind of enter the picture, if you get my gist, you
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah.
He would use things like opportunities for education, for food, for a future to families with literally nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah,
And
that
and
okay.
right, and because he's using locals to help him recruit these families and essentially women. So when you look at a woman, you think motherly, kind, you don't think child sexual predator ever. And we all have more ease when it comes to women versus men. And I'm sorry, those
Yeah,
are just the
yeah,
statistics.
yeah.
So when this shit was all going down, and it was a fucking monstrous business he was running, he did not operate alone because obviously that would be much harder. So he had two young women, Carm Ann Alvarez, who was 17, and Lizelle Margalo, 19. Now, these two girls, and I say girls because they're essentially
Babies.
children,
Uh-huh.
became his closest associates. Now, investigators did later conclude that both had likely been his victims before being drawn into facilitating his crimes against others, which we do see a lot.
Yeah, okay.
So, this is a documented and deeply uncomfortable pattern in trafficking investigations worldwide. Survivors coerced into becoming recruiters. It complicates everything on how these cases get prosecuted, obviously, because imagine you are a victim at 12 and you have been victimized for years and years and years. And the person who is abusing you and trafficking you says, you can make this stop, but you have to help me.
Right, right. And this is it. What do you do?
Well, and this
Because
is
the
it.
answer will probably shock you.
Yeah. If you are being tortured daily on a horrific level and you just need peace and a break and you are so desperate to be able to escape maybe someday, you're going to do
Mm,
anything you can do. So,
of course.
there is no clear formula for it. Obviously, courts have to weigh testimony, timeline, degree of coercion, financial benefit, and intent. Intent to me is the biggest thing.
Yeah, we were just talking about this on our last case. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times when these things come to fruition in the courts, there's a lot of incomplete information
Mm,
because the people best positioned to explain what happened are also the most traumatized and the least likely to trust authorities, especially in
yeah.
countries like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Alvarez and Margallo approached families with the promise that sounded on the surface really like generosity. They would promise education, stability, a chance for their own daughters to literally be able to escape poverty, to be able to get an education, to escape starvation. And most families did say no to this. I want to preface this, but
Okay.
enough said yes. Because if you look at your child is starving and a woman comes up and says, "Hi, I'm working with an organization. We got funding. We can take your daughter to a private boarding school, give her education."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, and we've talked about this at length just as
Yes.
friends, where it's like, you gotta we're so quick in a first world country to be like, I would never, ever, ever in a million years let this happen to my child. But we don't fully understand the situation that these people are in. If
No.
you have 5 kids and the oldest one is a girl, everyone is starving. Everyone is hungry. Your children are malnourished. And like you just said, someone comes in like they're going to save the day, one less mouth to feed. They're going to give her an education. She's going to have a better life. Of course, you're going to let her go.
And remember, you see Alvarez, who is
Mm.
this young girl. She's like, they saved me. I'm getting an education.
Yeah.
I want to offer it. This is what
To
I
you.
went
Yeah.
through. Um,
Hmm.
and as this was going on, so we've got these two young girls
Hmm.
essentially getting young
Yeah.
children to come. They were being tortured, exploited. If you can imagine the worst sexual act that can be done to a child, that's what was happening to these kids. I have chose not to go into detail because it makes me want to
We're not going
fucking
to do that.
vomit.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to.
But
We're
the
not going to do
worst of
that.
the worst, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got these young girls. They're helping Scully. He's getting them to go out and get more victims because he's
Hmm.
making fucking bank. He is
Well,
making
this is
bank.
just it. This is just it.
Right.
People rarely do this or choose to do this, because they enjoy it. They're doing it because it's lucrative. They are making so much money.
I mean, here's the thing. If you sell drugs, you
Hmm.
sell the drugs get used, the drugs are gone. If you sell a human.
Yep.
Okay. So this operation might have continued indefinitely. But
Okay. Well, yeah.
one decision, a moment of conscience played in. I don't really know what
Oh,
happened,
okay.
but Alvarez had convinced her own young cousins, age 9 and 12, to come to Scully's home. Now, before I continue, right there, like, yes, she potentially was a victim of Scully's. And I get that.
Hmm.
And I'm not
Hmm.
victim blaming because I don't think that's fair. But she knew what was going to happen to these babies. They're 9 and 12.
Yeah.
So right there, I'm like, I don't,
This is the thing about stuff like this because it's like I can understand desperation. I
yeah,
can. I can understand where someone's at a point where or they feel like they're in danger if they don't do what they've been assigned to do. Like I get all that. But it's like your own family?
I know. I
I don't know, man.
know.
That just comes across as so cold.
Heartless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after 5 days of captivity, 5 days of who knows what these little girls endured, I'm
Ugh.
assuming the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Alvarez, for reasons she never fully explained to investigators, let them go.
Okay.
So these girls ran and they reached a local police station. What they described to police triggered what would become a years-long international manhunt, eventually involving the Philippine National Bureau of Investigation's Anti-Human Trafficking Division,
Okay. Well,
Interpol, and U.S. Homeland Security. So,
every time I
like,
hear Interpol, I'm like, oh, the big boys are here.
oh, yeah. I'm like, damn. When officers reached Scully's residence, they found videotapes. And like when I say like videotapes, I don't mean like two. I
Mm,
mean like
mhm.
lots.
Yeah.
Among one of these tapes was one that would be described by every investigator who saw it as the worst thing they have ever encountered in their entire career.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Which says a lot because, like, these, especially if the anti-human trafficking group was involved,
I'm
like,
like,
for them, yeah, for them to say this is the worst I've ever seen, yikes.
I don't want to ever be inside their eyeballs.
The partners of these people,
I know. Or the
because, like,
children.
heroes.
Yeah.
Because how do you support, our guys go to work and they come home and they're dusty and
Yeah.
tired and their body hurts, and we do everything we can to support that. How do you support someone who's coming home with the worst emotional,
Oh,
spiritual damage you can imagine?
it's
I don't know. I think about that so often.
well, yes. And the things they
Mhm.
referenced on this video were so disturbing, Chantel. It documented the abuse of 3 girls, and
Mm.
the youngest in the video was under 2 years
Okay.
old.
Immediately, Ash, and I know we try to come on here and we try to look at all perspectives of whatever. Immediately, you are a monster
Yeah,
and you shouldn't be on this earth.
no.
That's
In this
gross.
video, 2 of the 3 victims survived. One, an 11-year-old little
Mm.
girl referred to in court records as Cindy, did not. Her body was later found buried on a property Scully had leased. Investigators determined that she had been strangled shortly after filming had ended, and that, like other victims, she'd been forced to dig her own grave.
Oh. Oh, so there it's so crazy as you're telling me this because I'm a good human. And when I try to put myself in the shoes of these monsters, in my head, I'm like, maybe it was an accident, maybe none of this
No,
is
no.
you're getting a child to dig their own grave. I I am uncomfortable.
I know. I know. When I read that, I was like, do I mention it? But it's important to
Oof.
mention because it shows that this was planned beforehand. Because before they strangled her to death, this 11-year-old little girl dug her own grave knowing what was
Yeah.
coming. The
Yeah.
horror of that is unspeakable.
And I think it's important that we talk about it because it just goes if you thought for a second that these people had a conscience at all, this shows
No,
that they don't. It doesn't exist.
no. And the discovery of that transformed the case from a child exploitation investigation to a homicide investigation.
Yeah.
And that change really did push authorities to aggressively pursue it, which I think I had my opinion when I read that. I was like, so the child exploitation, you were just investigating, but once it became murder, it was like pushed more heavily. I think child exploitation should be handled as if these children were each and every one of them being murdered because their little
Mhm.
souls are being
Yeah.
murdered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's something that true crime stories don't always explain well. How do you actually catch someone operating in the most deliberately untraceable corner of the internet?
Yeah.
Because I find I'll be reading about the dark web and I'm like, so how do these people get caught? And the answer to that question, more often than not, is money. Because the dark web isn't a
Right.
single hidden place, it's a
Yeah.
layer of the internet accessed through specialized software. So, not,
Okay.
this isn't something that Joe Blow from friggin', you know, Google land is just going to fall onto. You're not
Right. Right.
accidentally getting into the dark web.
No, no, right?
And like,
I
it
s
is,
I watch, sometimes I watch these, it's on TikTok, and it's people who catch pedophiles,
yeah, yeah,
and they're always like, "I don't know, I just ended up on there."
yeah, no.
John, get the fuck out of here. No, you
Well,
didn't.
these sites are specifically made to resist. So you have to dig and get
Yeah,
and pay. And
yeah.
for years, predators operating there believe cryptocurrency payments made them untouchable because
Oh god.
Bitcoin felt anonymous. But guys, Bitcoin is not
Surprise.
anonymous.
Yeah.
Every
Dumbass.
Bitcoin, yeah. Every Bitcoin transaction is permanently recorded on a public ledger called the blockchain. It doesn't show names, but it shows the flow of money, wallet to wallet, transaction to transaction forever. So, like,
Mhm.
it's traceable. And federal agencies, including the IRS, built entire units around exploiting exactly that feature. Don't be dumb.
We say this about video surveillance all the time. It's 2026. Everything you do is traceable, trackable. We can see you. They can
Yes.
see you. They can find you. Stop thinking that anything you're doing is anonymous.
Yeah, no. So, in one of the largest cases of this kind, the 2019 takedown of a dark website called Welcome to Video. Have you ever heard of that?
No,
It hosted over 250,000 exploitation videos.
that just turned my stomach. So,
Yeah. Investigators traced Bitcoin payments back through the blockchain. So,
yeah.
to identify the site's administrator and ultimately locate the physical server. That
Hmm.
single investigation led to arrests across multiple countries, but almost entirely on following the money rather than breaking any encryption.
Duh.
A 2025 case worked the same way. Investigators actually traced cryptocurrency payments through intermediary wallets to
Okay.
the
Yeah.
exchange where criminals eventually convert it to cash. Unlike anonymous wallets, are required to verify identity. A Peruvian national was arrested in Brazil after crypto tracing exposed his alleged links to dark web exploitation that had served consumers worldwide. So these people were not a small operation. It was a worldwide operation making millions of dollars. The investigators didn't have to break Tor. They did not have to crack any password. They just followed a financial trail.
Yeah. Again, you're not anonymous. I don't care if you think you are.
That's right. So obviously, Scully's case predates the most sophisticated version of this technique. But the underlying principle was already true by the same investigators caught up to him because payment trails, communication records, and the testimony of people who'd interacted with this network left traces they didn't burn in that fire. So, Philippine authorities, in partnership with the Organization for Human Trafficking, have refined a specific process for these cases over the past decade. And it's worth understanding, in my opinion, because it's the same basic model that eventually closed in on Scully. So I think it's important that people understand how these dark web rooms operate. There is
Yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
way, no fucking way, if you're going to make a payment of any type to watch this bullshit, there
Hmm.
is a trail. It typically starts with a tip, sometimes from a foreign law enforcement agency that's arrested a customer overseas is working backwards to find the children in the footage. So a lot of times people will say like there's child pornography, child exploitation,
Hmm.
and they will look at those videos and they'll start working backwards to find out who these kids are, where they came from, who's paying for
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Um and sometimes that comes from an informant and occasionally from a hotline report.
Okay.
From, from there, investigators build a case quietly, financial records, communications, sometimes months of surveillance before ever attempting a raid. Removing a child from an exploitive situation too early without enough evidence can let a trafficker walk and leave these victims undiscovered. So, you know, that time you fucked around 4 years ago, there's still a chance you're getting caught, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
you're not getting caught. Now, in Scully's case, the chain that led to his eventual 2015 capture in Sergiao ran through exactly this kind of multi agency, multi country effort. So, the Philippine agents worked alongside international partners. They pieced together his movements after years on the run until a coordinated raid in Malabale City located him. 8 months after Skelly's arrest, the evidence room ironically burned. computers, cameras, memory
Okay.
card. And we had talked about that at the beginning of the
At the beginning. Okay.
right. Several investigators who worked the case for years said publicly they believe the fire had been set deliberately. But there is,
Well, no shit. I'm
but there is,
sorry, but like,
yes. And there's no proof of that. There was no one
mm-mm.
ever charged, whether it was negligence or sabotage remains to this day, but
Yeah.
it doesn't take a fucking genius to
But
figure
come
out.
on. Well, this
Yeah.
is just it. And it's like, sure, we can't come on here and say 100% sure that that's what happened, but come on.
Well, and
This place burns to the ground and it contains all of this
yeah.
proof of everything. Like, come on.
Now, in most prosecutions, a loss like this would be fatal because really
No
in
shit.
2015, but this
If
one
that's all you
wasn't.
had.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
prosecutors leaned on the victim testimony, witness statements taken before the fire, financial records that existed independently, and forensic reports already filed with the court. So it is worth sitting with that because literally a lot of this investigation survived specifically because investigators hadn't put all of the evidence into that one room.
If I have a PSA for today, it's let's not house all the evidence in one room.
Let's not put all our eggs in one basket.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
So in 2018, 3 years after he was arrested, Scully was convicted of human trafficking and rape. He received a life sentence. Uh, while this motherfucker was being led away from the courtroom, he was smiling.
Oh.
I
Oh, I hope
hate
you
him.
die. Yeah, I hope you die. That's wow. Okay.
Prosecutors weren't finished, though, because in November 22, 11 years after he first fled Australia, Scully was convicted again, this time for torture, rape, and the production and distribution of child exploitation material. 129 additional years were added to his sentence. So this motherfucker's going to die in prison. And you know what? I'm wishy-washy about the death penalty,
Mhm.
but I don't want this motherfucker getting the death penalty because do you know what they do to these monsters in prison?
I know. Okay, another part of this that I always struggle with is when they protect prisoners.
I know.
So, like, even if I think back to Mackenzie Shirilla,
Mhm.
like, she wasn't put in general pop. She
No.
was put in, like, this secluded area of the prison because they were, like, afraid of what would happen to her. Let them.
Mhm.
Let them do whatever they're gonna do. Let them sort it out amongst their own government system that they have in prison. Like, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So this fucking asshole has
Mhm.
never accepted the responsibility of what he
No,
did.
no,
Uh, by most accounts, he literally spends his time complaining about prison conditions.
can't. I have such a hard time with this when it's like the Idaho 4 killer, Brian Kohlberger,
No.
bitching because he doesn't have vegan options.
Fuck off.
Sir,
You know, no.
vegan
So
options.
his accomplices face their own reckonings. Alvarez, who cooperated with investigators and had ultimately freed her cousins, received a life sentence. Now, yes, I think that was warranted.
Me too.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
where you
me
were going
too.
to sit with that.
No, the thing is, anytime that it comes to kids, there's something broken inside of you.
Yeah, yeah,
If you can look at a child and inflict suffering, trauma, death, abuse on a child, there's something broken inside of you and you
yeah.
can't be with the rest of us. You can't.
No, no, you got to go. Now,
Yeah.
Margallo evaded capture for 2 years. This fucking bitch was living under a false identity in a luxury apartment she claimed was funded by a wealthy husband.
Uh-huh.
When
I'm sure.
investigators, right, eventually located her, evidence suggested she may have continued facilitating abuse remotely during that time. So her
Oh,
fucking lifestyle was not funded by a spouse, but by the
no.
very network Scully had built. So fuck her.
Yeah, honestly.
When she was finally sentenced, the court gave her life plus 126 years.
Good.
So fuck you.
Mhm.
Um, Two other associates convicted for lesser roles in the videotape abuse received 9-year sentences, and I have a problem with that.
What?
If you had any I don't care what
Yeah,
your fucking part was. I
yeah.
don't care if you simply fucking clean the room afterwards, life in
Yeah,
prison.
150%
If
yes.
you knew what was going
Yeah,
on, life in prison because you did
if
nothing
you
to stop it.
exactly, if you knew what was going on to these babies and you chose to look the other way, you can't again, you can't be with us. You have to go away. You're a monster.
So to this day, only 14 victims have been identified.
And obviously there were more.
Uh, Hundreds more. But
Yeah,
again, we're
yeah,
in the Philippines.
yeah.
Now, some are still receiving care and support today. The youngest
Okay.
known victim, referred publicly only as Daisy to protect her identity, did survive.
Mm.
But the physical trauma she experienced will affect her for the rest of her life because it did cause permanent injuries.
Ooh, that made me
Yeah.
again feel really not well.
So it is worth noting because it's easy to forget stories like this.
Yeah.
The rescue of trafficked children doesn't end at arrest. Organizations involved in these cases described years of follow up, medical care, trauma therapy, education support. A lot of times they'll try and relocate these families because removing a child from a situation is just the beginning. The amount of support these poor babies
Yeah.
need afterwards is horrific.
Mm.
Now, this is also by the numbers, not a rare crime because Philippine authorities and
No.
international partners run dozens of rescue operations every year. So, like children as young as infants, you guys.
And this is the point when we talk about this sort of thing that I really want to make and I really want to drive home to our listeners is this is a common thing.
Yeah.
We're not like this is more common than most of the like murders we come on and talk about.
Yeah.
And we have to start understanding this isn't a once in a while thing. This isn't like a small group of bad people who are doing this.
No.
This is a daily occurrence. There are organizations that runs every single day
Yeah.
trying to intercept people taking these kids.
And
Like,
these
this is
cases aren't making
so big.
headlines.
No, because it's so common, and
Yeah.
again, if you stub your toe every single day, and you know you're gonna stub your toe every single day, it doesn't hurt as much, and that's literally what's happening here, is this happens so often that and I think a lot of times we can't look at it because even and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not because you're my best friend. Even researching these stories,
Oh,
you walk away from it and you're kind of fucked up for a bit
yeah, you are.
because we aren't meant to. This is not natural. You're not meant to look at the abuse of innocent kids
I when researching this episode, I really left so much out
because you can't.
for two reasons.
Yeah,
First reason is we don't need to go into details because we have imaginations and we don't need
yeah,
to talk about it. We know what's
no,
happening.
no.
It's disgusting and horrible. My
Uh-huh.
second reason was I'm not going to let some fucked up individual watch this video and let us recount something that they're gonna
Yeah.
get off on. Fuck
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
You
Exactly.
fucking pig.
Exactly.
Anyways,
Ugh.
the reason I brought that fire up was
Mhm.
because that was an inside job. So,
Mm.
what was on those tapes that someone higher up did not want getting out? When we think of, you know, child exploitation, we think of seedy underworld characters going in and doing these things. That's not always the case, guys.
Well, and the Schmepstein files kinda showed us
Mhm.
that. Like
Yeah. So, you know, closing out, cases like this do not get solved by one breakthrough. They get solved by
no.
investigators who literally have to sit day in and day out and look at horrifying images. And I want to send out my appreciation for the people that fight for these kids because what they do every single day is horrific,
Mhm.
but in the most, I would have to say, selfless way because I could not do it. So kudos.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And that is, to me, the biggest takeaway for this is
Mhm.
every day children are being abused. Their bodies are being sold on the internet. The dark web is a horrific place that
Yeah.
I can never understand. But if we don't talk about it and we don't recognize the people that are fighting for these kids, change will never happen.
Yeah. And another point I wanna make is if you made it this far in the episode, because I know these ones aren't easy.
No.
And we see it. We see when we talk about child exploitation and human trafficking, people can't get through the episodes.
No.
I have
And
a
that's
hard time
fine.
getting through some episodes, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
if you made it this far and you're sitting here and you're listening and you're kinda depressed because 'cause you're like, "Fuck, I hate this,"
Yeah.
and you're thinking, "Well, what can I do?" Where, in my Western civilization, little town, city, whatever, what can I do? And the truth is, be aware of your surroundings. So something else that I've seen on the internet so often is these social experiments where they will have like a child and it's all set up. The child is perfectly safe and knows what's going on. They'll have a child and they'll have someone like pick up the kid and start walking away with them. And the amount of people that look the
They
other
just,
way,
yeah, I've seen this.
guys, here's the thing that, and I know it's hard for someone who's shy or someone who doesn't like confrontation. I get that. I really do. It's okay. It's always okay for you to question
Yeah.
something that just doesn't look right, that just feels intuitively, you're looking at it going, that just doesn't jive with me. Something feels wrong. As a parent, now my child is older now, but as a parent, I would have rather had people come up to me and say, "Hey, is everything okay here? Is this your daughter? Hi, little girl, are you okay? Is this your mom?" I would rather have seen that a million times than the one time something looks off and nobody says anything.
But another point I want to make too is these, you know, kids, sometimes they're being groomed from the inside out. So you have to
Yeah.
remember if you notice your child on their phone a little more, a new adult is in their life. They seem overly
Yes.
nice. Single parents, you're dating someone, they seem extra invested in your kids. Pay attention to that.
I'm actually in the process of writing a whole episode on this,
Yeah.
where we're gonna break it down. We're gonna break down things to look out for in your own home. And this is the thing that, if there's any takeaway from this isn't something that's, yes, today's case happened in the Philippines, but this isn't something that's happening far away from us. It's happening in our kids' bedrooms. It's happening in the hallways of their schools. It's happening at the park that you let your kids go to in the evening to hang out with their friends. That's what we need to start understanding. And it's so hard as a parent to find the line of
Yeah.
being too protective and not letting your children leave the house. Because honestly, if I think about it too much, My daughter, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can never leave.
I mean,
But it's hard.
traffickers are not one race, one sex, one type of
No.
person. Traffickers
No.
can be children. They can be victims. And like we saw with Alvarez and Morales, like you can not look at someone and say that person, So it doesn't matter their race, it doesn't matter their
Yeah.
gender, it doesn't matter their age.
Yeah.
You have to be on the lookout. And unfortunately, in this day and age, it's happening more and more right under people's noses.
Yeah.
And these people are trained. They know how to make you comfortable. They know how to make, so if someone promises you a job that sounds too good to be true, hey,
Yep.
house cleaning job, hey, an au
Look into it.
pair position across, borders,
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yep.
just be careful. So I want to
Yeah.
wrap this up because
Mhm.
I don't want to linger on this subject too much because I'm feeling icky.
Yes. Yeah.
But it was something I wanted to talk about because I feel like it's not talked about because it is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So thank
Yep.
you for all of you who have stuck around. If you want to talk
Mhm.
further, please join our group.
Yeah.
Become a subscriber, get in the conversation. We'd love to have you. If you're not interested in becoming a subscriber, even just following us on YouTube, sharing our videos, that goes a long way. We appreciate you. And we will see you all on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Like, fuck. I had to really think